Hi, I'm Karen. We're here at Montevilla Sewing Center, and today we're talking about the Janome AirThread 2000D. In this video, I'm going to give you an overview of the machine. So to start with, over here we have where you plug in both the foot control and the power cord. And in front of that we have the on-off switch. You have the hand wheel, which goes counterclockwise, so if you're hand walking stitches, make sure that you turn it counterclockwise or towards you. Up above that we have the stitch length. That's this outer dial right here, and as you go past 3 you can kind of feel it click into a groove there. That is your normal stitch length. Then we have your differential knob, and that's this one up here. It also kind of clicks down into the 1. Differential has to do with whether you can gather your fabric or stretch it out. It's really good for sewing knits because knits tend to get a little bit stretched out when you sew them. So you can move this up a little higher depending on the knit, of course, because there's a lot of different kinds of knits. So stitch out a sample and see what it does. But let's leave that right there at the default setting for now. Here we have the thread tree. Now when you use your serger, make sure you have this all the way up, and when you're done with your serger, push this down. Just make sure it's all the way up because that will help the thread flow smoothly through your machine. Back here we have 4 spool pins, and each spool pin has this cone holder on it, and you can take the cone holders off. If you're going to use household thread, you'd use the little these little spool stands here. But most of the time you're going to be using serger thread like this, and that requires the cone holders on there. If you need to, you can move those cone holders up a little higher so that the thread doesn't wobble, just stays nice and straight. Then we have thread guides here. Down here we have the tension discs for each of the 4 threads, and they can be adjusted independently. Over here we have the presser foot pressure dial. So right here it's on N for normal, but you can make it a little bit higher if you need to, or a little bit lower. It's a kind of stiff to push, so that's good because then it won't get out of adjustment, but that's what that is for right there. This switch here, standard and tight. For standard serging, you'd leave it on this right here. Tight means if you're going to do a rolled hem, that changes the thread tension on the loopers so that you get that nice rolled edge. So that's one of the adjustments that you would do for rolled hem. And then we have more thread guides here, and I'm going to do a threading video, so we'll talk about that, as well as the presser lifter is right back there. This is for threading your machine. I don't have the hand wheel in the right place, but for threading your needles, you got a needle threader right there. Really nice. Okay, then we have the presser foot, and to take the presser foot off, this is one of those quick change feet. There's a little lever right back there. Push that down, it comes right off. There's also a little spring here which pushes the front of the foot down on the feed dogs. Now notice there are 2 sets of feed dogs, one in front, one in back. This knob here controls how much the front feed dogs pull. So right here at neutral, at 1, they're pulling the same. If I switch this to a higher level, now the front feed dogs are pulling more than the back. That will give you a gathered effect. If it's less, then it tends to stretch things out, and you can do things like a lettuce edge like this. So I'm going to put that back to 1 right there. Okay. I'll put this back on, lower the presser foot right over that little bar, and just push down. It comes right on. Okay, so this is your scrap catcher for those little pieces of fabric that get cut off with the scissor mechanism right there. So this is the blade mechanism. It works like scissors as it goes along, cuts those little scraps of fabric off, often gives you a nice, smooth, even edge. Okay, now as you can see, things moving around here, we've got your upper looper and your lower looper, and those are attached to the machine by tubes. And this is the magic of air threading. Once you have these connected up, and again, I'm going to show you that in our threading video, but it makes it so easy to thread your serger using the tube mechanism. When you're not in air threading, this moves independently. Okay. All right. And then you also have this door here that you can open. You can open the whole thing up, and when you do that, press on your foot pedal, the machine will not go. It's a good safety feature to have. So here's your needle plate. This here is, well, here, let me show you. I'm going to, first of all, put the blade down. This is how you lower the blade. You push this in and turn it downwards. Now, right here, there are pictures showing you how to do that. You need to make sure and push this in when you turn it. And when you turn it in the arrow, the direction that the arrows show. But with that out of the way, I'm going to show you this. Look closely right there. If I pull this back, that stitch finger is pulled back out of the way. That's another adjustment that you would make if you were doing a rolled hem. It makes a nice narrow edge on the edge of your fabric. So let's put it back for regular serging. And then I'm going to put the blade back up. So push in, turn, there it is, back up again. This one is for width. Now what this does, when you turn this, it changes the cutting width. So here's out to the furthest out, and there it's furthest in. So it has about 2 millimeters of difference. I like to put it, I'm going to show you with the off there. I like to have the lower blade about so that this line goes about in the middle of that. Again, it's going to depend on the kind of fabric you're sewing, whether it's thick denim-y type fabric or a thick knit, or if it's a fairly thin fabric like a lining or something. So sew through a test sample, and if it looks like that seam allowance is a little puckered, you may want to move your blade assembly to the left a little bit. That's how you would do that. Over here we have the lever for whichever looper that you are threading at the time. It doesn't matter which looper you thread first, but this is the lower looper. That's this one, the one that's shaped like that, and this one's for the upper looper, this one right here. And once you're done threading and you get it ready to serge, it does not matter which side you have this on. You can just leave it where it is. Now this lever will help you get into threading. So I put it over here into the threading mode, turn the hand wheel, and notice how those lock up like that. That means it's ready to thread. It's not going to sew. And then this is the threading lever. Now listen carefully. When I go like that, you can hear that puff of air. That's the puff of air that pushes the thread through whichever looper you've got selected for that air thread. That's why this machine is called that, the air thread. Now, if you have this over in threading, the door is not going to shut. So make sure you put it back. That's sort of a reminder. Now you can close that door. Okay. So that's, again, the air thread lever, and in storage position, I mean, when you're not using it, this is where it goes. Now this here is an important sticker right here. That is to tell you never put oil in here. There are other places you can put oil in your machine, but not there, and of course not where these tubes come out either. This is a nice little diagram showing you which part of the machine has which thread going through it. This is a brief overview of threading. I'm going to give you a threading tutorial in another video, but it tells you these things here. It's kind of a nice reminder for you. So the machine is ready to go except for threading. That's the brief overview of this machine. Thanks for watching. We have other videos you can watch. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you have comments or questions, leave those in the area down below. Thanks for watching. Bye.